Oh, could you get away with murder?
Boom, boom, boom.
Before you go heating up, what do you mean?
Huh?
What do you mean? You said
We gon' look. Come on, me and Garrett about to go to the grass here for a second. We gotta get. Don't hit yourself with it. Well, did you just give the camera eyes? Just look.
It's got to be closer to your mouth than that.
This
getting promoted.
Garrett has a little bit of a reputation around here.
Of what?
Tilt the mic towards you. Other way. Towards you the other way. There you
Your Marine Corps left. Okay. Right, yeah.
Yeah, just
I got to do this, right?
You got it.
This close?
follow, just follow it with you every time you move.
Sure?
Just keep it on your
I'm going to make a comment about this. You know that.
You gonna make lots of comments, I know.
No, I'm not.
But you have a reputation. I heard it when I first came here about how handsome. Oh yeah.
How handsome what?
How handsome he was when he first came here,
What?
and there's pictures. Oh yeah,
Never heard none
thirsty
of
people.
that.
Mm-hmm.
If you're into mullets, it's whatever made the crack case.
I've never heard that about JG.
He's got there's a whole thing about Garrett out there. He was the cat's meow. But I'm gonna tell you something. Your wife is a sweetheart. She is literally one of the nicest people to put up with you for years and years.
A lot.
She's a great woman.
And when first
She's
thing
got
I
you
say,
trained up now.
he's alive. So
We are talking about homicide today, and we love to joke and kind of cut up and have fun, and we'll still do that, even though this is a serious topic. Because for someone like you that's been doing this for how many years?
32 in the state system.
So longer than some of our deputies have been alive, right? You have been working in one of the, I would not call it one of the most coveted fields of law enforcement. I don't think people love to get into homicide. Maybe some do. Did you?
Oh, yeah.
Did you?
Yeah. When I was in forensics in the 90s, I was like, one day.
So that was the thing. You knew
be
it.
like Ed Hannock. He was a deputy coroner then. He
Ed
retired
Hannock.
from Miami Police Department homicide. Came up here.
So
Oh, yeah.
so then dispel
I had
my thought here. Do you think that most people want to go to homicide?
No, I've tried to recruit some people here lately.
Oh.
Like down
Stop
in DU.
We don't have enough.
I know.
people.
I'm trying,
We
and they're
don't-
like, it's a
Stop.
lifestyle.
Stop.
It's a life.
I'm not
it's a
ready for that lifestyle
Yeah.
yet. And they're right.
I
It's
buy
a
that.
lifestyle. You got to.
Why? So other than wanting to be like, someone that you admired, what made you really want to get into homicide? What about it?
Well, I worked dope for 14 years. You're making that case happen. You know who the drug dealer is.
Right.
You're getting him to come to a location. You're going to video it. Hopefully, he's going to sell it to an officer.
Right.
Here, you don't have any of that. You have a body on the railroad tracks with a gunshot wound.
If
You
you
got to start from scratch. It's a challenge.
okay,
Oh,
which
real
makes sense because you're an investigator at heart. So that challenge is one that you kind of welcome because you want to figure it out, and you want to get answers
True.
to the family, the loved ones.
Absolutely.
If you had to, and you don't have to say an exact number, although you probably have it in your folder. I don't even know what you got in there. But how many bodies in your career, and I'm talking whether it's, an active crime scene, if it's a natural death, just a deceased body, do you think you've dealt with? If you had to round it on average.
I had to testify to this shortly, not too long ago, 371.
So he knows it down to the number, 371.
If you're going to testify and they ask you, don't want to ballpark, then you got to lowball that because you say at least. But
So really more than that. So probably
I think-
more than 400, I'm sure.
I
No?
don't think so many. I went back
Okay.
to my forensic days and pulled them because that was the question. And how many homicides, of those were homicides, and how many in total, and that was the number. So I went back and updated that log so in case I'm asked again on the stand under oath. And I lowballed it. I said like 200 something.
Yeah. 371 deceased bodies. That, like, most people in their lifetime will never see one. Hopefully.
Maybe one.
You know, or maybe one, a loved one, you know, but not in the state that he sees them in, of course. But that how do you do that? For somebody that doesn't understand law enforcement or homicide, how do you do that day after day? How do you not take that home, or do you take it home?
Well, some of you do, because, I mean, once it's already happened, you know, the hard part's over with for the victim.
Right.
I mean, it's the family's got to deal with it then.
Right.
But, you know, now I can start from here. But if I had probably had to get involved when it was going on, or if it was a live victim that was being tortured or something like that, it'd probably bother me. Because you can look at some cases and say, this was hard. I'm glad it's over with for them.
Yeah.
You know, just their wounds, what they had to go through. And you'll think, ooh, I wouldn't even want to be a witness to this.
Right.
But now, block it out. We're starting from here on, trying to make the case. So that helps.
Do you have one that kind of sticks out most for you in all your years?
Yeah, I don't really talk about it. Well, it was
And that's
in forensic.
the
it
thing
was
is
brutal for a young man brutally stabbed his mother, set the house on fire over on the east side. I was working forensics, and you could tell I was a new forensic technician then, and the wounds she had, you could tell.
a lot of defensive wounds, and like she fought
first
hard.
time I ever seen real, where they're grabbing the blade and the blade. I was like, that hurts. But so that one still sticks in my mind.
That's tough because you know, all the years that you do this, you have a job, and you guys are good at your job, and you know kind of how to, I don't want to say, you know, kind of shelve it, but in a way you do. You go through the steps because you have a job to do, and you try not to take each one personal or take it home, because we need people like you that can process these scenes and do this, because it's the ugly truth. It happens no matter where you live, no matter who you are. This stuff happens all around us, and you have to have people that are willing to put the time in to investigate and do the hard part of
See, I
it.
think that about crimes against children. See, I couldn't work over there because we have counseling. Sheriff's office, we're mandated. We go to a counselor. We talk, make sure there's no red flags or indicators that we're having a problem. And us, crimes against children, maybe some other divisions. And I think about what some people do to children in this state. I mean, in Greenville County, and
It's awful.
I can't.
It's awful.
I'm glad
If
we
people
got
knew.
people over there that can do that job.
It's hard to believe.
I can go over there. I'd be on 6 o'clock.
But you also have to deal with, oh boy, there's Garrett.
I got grandkids. I had a daughter.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
Dad's out there.
I'm with you.
I'm where I need to be.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Sheriff, we probably need to make sure he stays in homicide too. So
We're good. He's our guy. This is who you want to investigate.
this
I
is
know
you do though,
My limitations in certain areas. I don't need to be over there.
but you also have to deal with kids
I do.
and homicides.
Our unit, 8 investigators, and I think 2 of them right now came from crimes against children. And they may be forensic interviewers for children. We got a melting pot of different talents in the homicide unit, and usually I try to grab one of them to go with me. We have to infant death. We work infant deaths. Crimes against children will work it with us, but if there's a death involved, homicide works it.
I'm gonna ask you a question, and it's a question that people that are listening, they probably want to know and may never have the nerve to ask. So I'm gonna ask it. How would you describe to someone? Oh yeah. What a dead body smells like, because we talk about that. There are things that stay with you. How would you even put that into words to somebody that's never experienced that?
It smells like anything else dead to me. I mean,
Well, you smelled it so much, your nose is probably broke, isn't it?
I don't know. I think the arson type
burns are different. That's sweet
that's
odor. It has
way
a sort of a different
but-
odor to it. But decomposition it smells like anything else that's been there. So
That's
hard to
what the
describe,
answer I
yeah.
was looking for. I
know,
thought
it
you were
is,
going to go
and
deeper
it is
for
to
me.
me. I mean, maybe my nose is broken.
Do you
You're
feel
doing it
like
so long.
deceased victims kind of, when you arrive on scene, I get to watch y'all show up and watch you start that process. You feel like they kind of speak to you in a way like they're leading?
Oh, there's a story.
Yeah.
When you get there, you'll see indicators like, one always jumps out at me, there's a live round there. Why would that be there? Because we know how firearms work. They should be spent showcasing. So something's made that live round get out. Malfunction. He did a Hollywood where they think they have to rack it when one's in the chamber and one falls out. And so, and I had a case 3 or 4 years ago, and first thing I see is there's a live round. Why is that there? Spent shell casings. And during the robbery, some teenagers robbed another teenager for shoes and a phone, and were beating him with the firearm. Magazine fell out. He grabs it up, racks it, knocks out the live round, which this was significant. It did end up being later because it corroborates a witness. Kid gets in his car, takes off with no shoes. They fire into the car, kill him.
Right.
And my first witness, he explains this whole scenario. He obviously, we don't know what he knows. And he tells me this story. Well, that's what happened. He's got a square mark in the back where he hit him. Magazine fell out, and that explains. So I know that's a credible witness.
Right.
So he's corroborating the victim's story. So you'll see once you go through their phone or stuff like that, you'll start realizing, all right, this guy's got a family, or you'll know they might have a shady past. He's looking for something that the family thought he was off of.
Right.
He's going to certain areas of the town and trying to find something.
Kind of humanizes things.
It does,
To keep
we know
you
what it's
from being so callous and jaded.
He's struggling, and this is probably why he's over here, or his pants pockets pull out.
Yeah.
Well,
What's
Not
that
wrong.
process like when a call comes in, in our uniform patrol or any of our deputies find something? Take us from point A, how you guys kind of work. How do you do a homicide scene?
well, so first information, where is it at? Is it in the woods, in a car? Do they see anything obvious? He looks like he's got a gunshot to the head. Is there any firearms in the car or near him? No. That's a red flag. Of course, we're always going to get a search warrant, even if it's in their own house, because you don't know he's got a roommate that has some expectation of privacy. We'll just go ahead and get over that barrier. You can get one, go get one. So we're always getting information from what's on the scene. So we can put in a warrant, justify our probable cause to do what we're doing. So we want to know the injuries, don't want them to touch anything. Please get your witnesses. The first 48 is a real thing. It's not solving. A lot of people think
TV, right?
So no, that's different than I'll tell you that in a
Yeah.
minute. But you want to get as many leads solidified fast as possible that you can follow up on them in the next week, and you'll prioritize and do a triage, and you'll start going down the most important leads. But
And why do you need that fast? Why is the first 48
they
so
get away,
important?
of no one wants to get involved. They'll think somebody else will be a better witness, or sometimes they just don't want to get involved. But you want to get them detained and talk to them, not detained for witness, but get their story while it's there. They'll get to thinking about it, and they'll realize, hey, well, you've already arrested the guy. You must have enough. But a lot of times that's not enough. It is for arrest, but you want to get as many witnesses as you can. Video, information, most little details. All I know him by is red. Nobody else has told us that.
I don't think people realize, too, when y'all do make an arrest on a homicide, we put it on the news, hey, no threat to the public, one suspect's been arrested. That really is just the beginning steps of working a homicide. Once that person's in there and y'all interview them, and there's just so many other variables, so many other things to work or leads to run down, y'all work on these cases for months and months and months before they go to court, following up leads and downloading phones and doing all that stuff. It's not just as simple as putting somebody in the detention center and getting a warrant and just waiting on a court date.
Like first 48. Then next case, no, that's when the work starts.
Right.
So that's why we try not to get everybody out at one time in the middle of the night, because there's going to be things the next morning. Somebody needs to be at that autopsy. You learn something at the autopsy. It corroborates witness stories too. He shot him in the back when he's running away. Get to the autopsy. No, that ain't what happened. You go, all right, this witness probably telling the truth. This one probably didn't see it. Doesn't know what they're talking about. And phones of cards have been sealed that were involved. They're taking the dry storage, and you have to get search warrants for those, forensics. Get in there, find phones, or find a gun. You have to figure out the life of that gun and that phone. So that's when the work starts. So last week, we're mopping up, doing stuff from that homicide. So it's just a lot. There's a big checklist, and we delegate so we can get ready for the next one.
I think if the public, even the deputy on the road, could ride with y'all when something like that happens, or see the homicide book y'all make when it's really all said and done right before court, and see all the work that's poured into it. I mean, it's an enormous amount of work, more than I ever thought, looking through those books and realizing somebody had to go get this information. Somebody had to go get this statement. Somebody had to go talk to the solicitor's office or whatever the case may be. Judges, it's a
You
it's
have
a
to
lot.
find every witness and every video because you'll think you have enough, and the one that you didn't find
is one you need.
A defense attorney will find us. Well, why didn't you talk to him? Why didn't we talk to him? That's why we have a checklist. Every homicide can't be a checklist situation, but we go
It's not
down.
the same.
Canvas for neighbors. Neighbors, I'll say nosy. They want to know they know what's going on in the neighborhood. They know.
Right.
Well, I saw a red car there last night. Ooh, that's a little crumb. That's all we need. Stuff like that.
Actually, Sheriff, what you just said, Ryan has been pushing for a while where we will go along with homicide and document from beginning to end. So we will be able to provide that for Greenville County. Ryan's been wanting to do that for a while now. That's definitely on the list.
Yeah, so cool for people to see, especially maybe somebody new in their career or somebody new to working at the sheriff's office. You may not have dealt or had an inside look at these things from another agency you came from. Y'all have cleared 100% of the homicides you worked for 3 years? 4
We
years?
got one in 2023, but we didn't find out it was a homicide until 2024. Skeletal remains on White Horse Road, but they have to go down to medical university or anthropologists looked over, and they go over every bone with like a microscope, look for like blade marks and everything. This is not a gunshot wound.
That's something I want to talk about too, because people, we all love crime shows. Some of us fall asleep to forensic files every night. It's not like SUV where they're like, or SVU where we got DNA, take this, I get back to the office, we got a match. That's not what happens. How does that work with like DNA and with the testing?
It takes time. You just can't DNA everything. And it's not like a field test kit where you can shake it. No, yeah, that's cocaine. Yeah,
right.
There's DNA in here. Or a fingerprint where all right, let me swab it. And in an hour, I'll know if it's his or not. It doesn't work that way. There's a big process. And we're fortunate. We got our own DNA lab, own firearms lab. And our forensics, I'll put up against anybody because we call them out of state sometimes. We're spoiled. I am. Yeah. I'll say, because looking at some of the other agencies, we've towed cars from Atlanta just so to come back to our forensics where they process it. They have dry storage, a good facility of, I think, Savannah. I pulled one for Savannah. And I think in the Suttles case, we took our forensics to North Carolina.
We did. And they were pretty. We got a lot of input after that particular case, talking about how professional everybody was that came up there, whether it was forensics or OPS. We had some investigators. Everybody who kind of pitched in, and you brought your experience into that case, helping some other investigators. And we are very blessed here to have folks who have the credentials you have to help younger investigators like you really are, leaving homicide better than you found it several years ago, training those folks up for the next generation of people. Like you said, you got 32 years. And you told me when you retire, you're going to ride a horse through the basement. We're going to open the back doors, and you're going to ride your horse all the way through the downstairs
I
lobby.
don't think he's going to do it, but I wouldn't
You mean
mind.
the horse or you?
I'll do it.
I know you'll do it. So,
yeah. We're working on confined spaces.
Okay. We'll get him trained up. We're in no rush for you to retire, but I do want to be the sheriff when that happens, and I want to hold the door open, and I want to see you come through.
I know a Border Patrol agent that did that in Uvalde, Texas, maybe, that when I worked there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Another thing too, boss, I want to point out is that a lot of people might think that these guys, they go out to a scene and then they do a lot of desk work and phone calls. And I personally saw the whole team. I think everybody that's in homicide at that time on the Jordan Nebling case.
Absolutely.
They were out
digging.
With they had heavy equipment out there. They're out there with shovels, sweating to death, digging through the dirt. They had the
very
sifter,
hands-on.
the sifter thing, checking everything.
They were all in. They were not standing there watching other people work.
No, we've got footage of that, and we'll show it in some of our pieces. But when we say that they put their heart into it, they really do, because you guys want to solve these cases. Oh, yeah. You want to find these answers.
Change that. We started, there's 2 cases here lately that changed the way we do things. Lavish nightclub shooting. We were in Atlanta talking to some agencies down there. And we were working on call 1 week at a time, 7 days. So you call whatever came in. That was before platoon investigators. So you got the overdoses. You got suicides that have to be investigated. It could be a stage suicide of likely wounds that would be lethal, head or torso. We work those. And they were working 1 day a week. We're like, explain yourself, because they had the same
How
I think
y'all doing-
investigators
how are y'all
as us.
doing
I
it?
think
Yeah.
just Gwinnett or somebody had the same number of homicide investigators as us, about 30 a year. We average about 25, 26. And you're going to call Monday. Next week, you'll be on call Tuesday. Next week,
Right.
Wednesday. And then when you get to Saturday and Sunday, you got weekend duty. Like I have weekend duty tomorrow.
Right.
So we said, let's try that for 3 months. It worked. And I think it's brought, distress and turnover. Because if you call two
It's a lot.
homicides, you
That's a
got two
lot, yeah.
homicides.
Yeah.
And Tanglewood, that changed the way we do things. So when I got to Tanglewood, I was a sergeant at the time, and I was like it was chaos, organized chaos, but I was at the command center. Do we have a crime scene? And I had on my group, Walter's investigator. I'm in the school. I'm looking at the shell case. I got this. Okay. Is anybody pulling video? I had 2 more.
Right.
Mikhail and maybe somebody else, I think. But they were we're about to get video, about to send a picture out. Is anybody in the hospital? And finally, I just stopped. They were starting to pipe in. Where'd LEC get search warrants to start bringing us witnesses?
Right.
We're at the hospital with the coroner about to talk to the family. We had the victim's phone. And it was like everybody, we were
was like a
plugging all the holes that
fine-tuned
needed to be
instrument.
plugged without
Right.
being told. So you had like-minded homicide investigators knew what to do. So we started dabbling with that, like a special team. Because when I was on bomb squad, it's so much training. You work with those guys. Homicide is like a special team. So
Sure.
I'd like to, now when we get homicide, if you're the lead investigator, you need to go to the scene, but you need to be interviewing too, or getting firsthand information from your witnesses or your suspect. So you have to do both. You have to balance it. So if the scene's way up north, say in the mountains, it's good that the investigator goes there first, gets the lay of it, and then if they got a suspect or witness, just take off back down here or where we're going to interview. We might go to the north or another station and start interviewing. But now we started doing it that way. It's like a special team. So, and somebody else come to LEC, start typing warrants of maybe start pulling video in the area. So we just start, everybody knows what holes need to be plugged now, and it's working. We're solving.
I think it was last Friday. Y'all had a shooting, and there were people in every office, every empty office, witnesses, suspects.
Yeah.
Like y'all must have had a dozen people
They
interviewing.
had them out in the hallway.
Yeah,
here,
interviewing.
It's
ready
a
to go
very,
in.
that was a very public
Right.
scene, so we had a lot of witnesses. We didn't know which ones were valuable and which ones weren't. So you got to interview them all and say, all right, we're good, and you can take them back. And then we start focusing on other witnesses that are more valuable or got more information. So
When you're interviewing people and you know that they're not being honest, how do you work that? How do you, when you guys are doing your interviews, how do you kind of work through to either get the truth from somebody or maybe a confession, or if they're pretty stubborn and they just don't want to be cooperative, how do you do all that?
we are a fact-finding investigative unit. We just, let them lie. If they lie, we know it. Just let it go, And sometimes a lie is better than a confession, especially if you just blow it out of the water. That didn't happen. Just,
Right.
all right, tell the story. If he wants to tell it, let him tell it. And don't get upset. We don't. But, just don't take it personal. He's lying to you. He's lying. Okay.
What does it feel
Document.
like when you do get a confession?
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
We've had a couple of those where we think he's a witness. Tell me what happened. And they start rubbing their head. You're like,
A little more than
all
that.
right, I'll tell you what really happened. Uh-oh. And they're a witness, but then there comes a point where I need to stop you. I'm sorry?
Oh, who's your
You may have
your
him
best button pusher back there?
here on this podcast here.
I have to weigh that.
JG's pretty sought after, I think, when it comes
yeah.
down to interviewing.
He's not gonna pick one. 'Cause,
No, I can't. We got two.
In your lifetime.
oh gosh,
Joe Wood. Well, yeah, Joe Wood or Larry Blue is pretty good. Those were homicide investigators when I was
Those
back in the
legacy,
day.
yeah, that goes way back.
Yeah, he,
both
that's a
those
safe
two.
answer
Yeah,
there.
and I took some cues from them. Well, you're not talking down on them.
Right.
Slide it in the back of a patrol car. Slide over. Let's talk.
Yeah.
Are you okay? Just build. Don't.
Because all that matters, like how
yeah.
you talk to somebody, your positions. You get them water. All that kind of works into getting them to open up to you, right?
And sometimes they had to do what they had to do. I don't know. I don't know the facts yet. That's the first thing
whatever situation
You're
they were
right.
in at
I
the
mean,
time. They made a decision.
Everything
to,
they tell me came at me with a knife. There's a knife. And we get video.
How do you, when you guys sit in front of some of the most awful crimes that have happened, how do you not get upset? How do you not get quick to judgment? How do you keep that your professionalism and your tempers down? How do you do all that when you are facing like the worst of the worst, like somebody that's just like, yeah, I did it and I do it again and I don't care, and
you
just
get
some of
upset
your
later.
most
You can't
awful.
do it there. I mean, don't take it personal.
Yeah.
I mean, you just got to control your emotions. And
How hard is that?
with kids, it's hard. I'll get up and walk out. All right, I'm tagging out. Somebody else needs to come in here. I couldn't.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you hear them out. I mean, the worst of the worst, they're going to get their punishment eventually. I'm not the, who am I? I'm here.
We're not the judge or the
find
jury.
the facts, establish the probable cause, and get something for the family, the justice. Sometimes not what they want. It's but you don't get perfect witnesses.
Right.
These guys are in the trenches with some of the bad guys too. But you get what you can.
You mentioned Lavish earlier, and that was in 2020. I'd been in office just a couple of months, and they called me in the middle of the night and said, Sheriff, we have 12 people shot at a nightclub on White Horse Road.
Oof.
Did you get that same call, and what did you think when you got it?
I did, and I was told to stand down because we didn't want the whole. We got plenty of people coming. There's new stuff to do tomorrow. So I'm sitting there looking at my phone like, I really want to go to that. I'm going to be.
That was a big scene.
It was.
I remember getting up, and it was July the 4th or something like that. Right around July 4th.
It was hot. Yeah.
And getting out there and driving down 85 to get to White Horse Road and thinking, my God, we have 12 people shot at one place at that time. That was the word we got. And I mean, my heart rate must have been 250, thinking, what in the world? I've been in office about 4 months or something like that. And get out there and just to go back through and watch, Terrence Bowers, one of the first ones there, get a crew together and go in and clear the nightclub, and some folks rendering aid, and then watch Homicide come out. I remember seeing Pacone out there working the crime scene. Once we all get out of the way, y'all get to come in and do your job. But, man, what a massive scene. The parking lot, the inside the nightclub, the gas station next door, then the cars, the down the street at the gas station, y'all were searching the woods down there for some items that were involved.
That was the relief team the next day, where you have autopsies, you have trajectory, figure out who was shooting from where, and search warrants. It is typing, trying to get, because it's got to be processed.
And y'all actually got some cell phone footage or camera footage from inside the club when the shooting happened. But, say 3-4 days later, so many victims at the hospital who said, nah, don't want to prosecute, don't want to be involved. How frustrating is that?
That's very.
So, I mean, we had him.
Yeah.
Like we, got the guy, but you start taking victims away from it. And by the time it gets to court, the impact of 12 people is gone now. 2 deceased people, a security guard, and a female that was inside.
Miss Bell.
Yep. Horrible. At the time, I think it was the largest shooting in the state at that time, with 12 people hit. So it was a wild couple of weeks for sure. We, getting that footage and trying to release it. Everybody wanted a piece of it while y'all were trying to do your job. Everybody's pulling at you, wanting us to release something. Me and Lieutenant Flood are talking about a press conference, doing those things. How often do we get in your way, Homicide's way, sometimes?
But it's not often. But
no, it's okay. It's okay.
When
you got complete.
Yeah, but when you say, hey, don't put that out yet. We want to cooperate that with this witness or of.
We don't realize the significance.
Yeah, we don't either.
So
that's why people get upset. Why'd you take my phone? Why can't I get my car? It might have a bullet in it.
Right.
It does have a bullet in it. We just want to we can match that to a gun. a gun we might not even have yet.
And that's tough on the PIO side because news is wanting to know what do you have, who is it, what do we got going on, and you got all these people trying to get information, sheriff's wanting information, and you guys are kind of at the root of having to provide all that, but you have to work it. Like no matter who's in a rush,
we're balancing family,
right?
Command staff wanting to know, but they get their answers. PIOs want stuff, but we got family privacy. So when you say there's no threat to the community, you start getting come on. How do you know this? How do you know this? How do you know this? Because there's a gun beside him and there's a note. But I don't know that. I don't know if did he write the note? Is this staged? I've worked 4 stage suicides. It's a thing. It happened. So we don't give it out too quick. But more likely than not is what I mean. I don't know how you say about wink, wink, hint, hint. I mean, you can't do that,
right?
Because as soon as you do that, it's going to be a homicide, not a suicide.
And you don't want to say something wrong,
and you don't want to contaminate your jury pool or other witnesses, because if you put witnesses together, that's why we're trying to separate everybody.
Right.
They say, yeah, that is what I saw. No, it really wasn't. Now that you heard her say it.
We want to know. Everybody likes to know right when it happens, what's going on.
Especially today with instant
doesn't work that way.
Type information from phones and all that stuff. Everybody wants to know the minute it happens. I mean, we have people who post stuff on social media now, send it to news organizations, and they posting videos, and it's funny to read some of it because it's nothing near the truth of what they're putting out, but they'll show 4 deputies arresting somebody, and they make assumptions about what's going on, and they'll just post it. We don't even respond to it anymore. We don't even allow comments on Facebook.
I tell mine, don't.
And you know what?
They're wrong. They don't know.
Right.
I want to add something there too for the public that's listening. Like you said, in this day and time, everybody wants to know first. They want to be the first with the news. They want to run and tell, the Cody Alcorns and the everybody in the area. Here's why that can sometimes become an issue for law enforcement. So if we have an active scene, someone's just gotten shot, someone's dead, no matter what the case is, and something gets, a neighbor calls a news station, hey, there's 100 cops next door. Okay, news comes out, they're wanting to know what's going on. Our people have a job to do. And when people come to the scene just to get a picture or a video so they can be first to send it to, the news outlets or the news reporters, that can sometimes be dangerous because the scene may not even be clear yet, may not even be safe. And now you've got people coming up just trying to get that one shot. And that can interfere with what our people are trying to do, can interfere with people being safe.
And you can lose your phone and become part of that investigation
very quickly.
You're right.
We will get a warrant and take that if there's some information we think's on there that may lead to a suspect or whatever. Y'all have done that before. So I don't think people realize the implications of that. And if it was their family member that was victimized somehow, they certainly would want us to do everything we could to make sure someone is captured, charged, prosecuted.
Right.
But those things come up. Why did you let this person in the scene? Who walked through here? Why isn't their name on the crime scene log or whatever? I don't walk through crime scenes. If I show up on something, I try to stay outside the tape because I realize how important that is for y'all, for me not to be in the way. And I think a lot of the public, they all want that first shot.
Our media is pretty responsible. The last thing you want to do is show a victim's body, and we'll tell them, hey, you're too close. And they're like, we'll back up, and they're responsible here. I mean, we haven't had. I can't remember the last time.
The news, I'll say, from working in the news,
good,
we were not allowed at the time to film a body because it's a respect thing. Think about if it was your mom or your loved one out there that just was the victim of a crime. Would you want that body in that condition to be put all over TV for everybody to see? No, none of us would want that. So news here, they do a good job about that I know of. Ryan would say different if it was, but they're pretty respectful about that. But there's good old Facebook and the community with the pictures and the self made investigators that have watched all the crime shows. Sometimes they don't really help us out a lot with putting information out. The bloggers, anybody ever watch that movie Nightcrawler? The guy that he would hear stuff on scanners and would chase it, go to the scene. You know, we've got some people here that do that in this area just to be first with it, and they don't know it's happened. And so the narrative gets out there, and then it's completely different by the time these guys have done their job.
And it's hard to change it.
Yeah.
When somebody puts out misinformation and we go on there and put the facts out that y'all give us, we don't see as many people reading it or responding to it. Even the news, if you notice, they'll put out, you know, Greenville County Sheriff's Office responded to a shooting at this location, and we arrest people, make charges, update the status of that person a day or 2 days later. The news it's not news anymore.
Right.
So it's a challenge to kind of put the toothpaste back in the tube when you have a civilian make assumptions and video something, send it to a news outlet, and they put it out a certain way. It can be hard to correct that.
You can also incriminate innocent people.
Yep.
Yeah, that's happened.
Which is not what you want.
We'll be putting somebody as a witness, and it's in public. You're
Right.
trying to.
It looks like they're
I
being
know,
arrested,
it
but it's a
one
witness. It's
person's
somebody we
detained at
talk
the
to.
scene. No, they're not. They want to come down and talk to us in private. That's why we get them
Yeah.
away, so they have their privacy.
How is it when you guys have to talk to the families? How hard is that when you have to sit there and have a conversation?
Well, that's the coroner's responsibility. Cause of manner of death, notification of the next of kin, and identification. So we accompany them because they're going to have information.
Right.
But that's the hardest part of it because of, like Ed Hannick. I still look up to him. When he was a deputy coroner, I was at hospital at forensics one day, and he was, I forgot. I don't even think it was a case I was working on. It was a wreck where a college, got killed somewhere on the east side. And he said, right now, that family, Sunday morning, is probably having breakfast. It's 8:30, getting ready for church or something. I am about to shatter their life. It's about to be, I'm going to turn their life
Change it
upside down.
forever,
He said, I'm like, oh, smoke, because I don't like that's family parts.
Yeah.
Notification. That's harder for me.
But you often have to tell them
I've had
some of the
to,
details.
Yeah. Well, yeah. They need to know.
How does that go? How do you keep yourself composed?
It's not easy. Just make it quick so they don't see you tearing up or something.
Because you do, don't you?
Yeah.
Like you all have moments that.
It wears on you, but
Yeah.
And you have to
they
be
have to know.
pretty direct too. That's the hard part.
A lot of
You
times
can't-
the coroner's doing his job, and I'm sitting in the background saying, "I'm glad it's you, not me," but I'm still having to look at the family.
Absolutely.
And they
And-
want to know what happened, and we're going to find out. But they're entitled to what really happened, and they're going to get it. I mean, it's hard truth.
And sometimes those are awful
Yeah,
details
they are.
that you have to share with them, don't you?
Yeah.
That's going to probably come out in court and photographs and video. And I mean, victims' families have to relive that, not only being interviewed by y'all and spoken to by the coroner's office, but the solicitor picks it up and they interview the family and they show them things that they had not seen, obviously. And then you get into actual court case where you have defense attorneys arguing about what happened, and they just
Trying to defend
put a
it.
picture up there, and leave it there, and you see the family sitting there. It's terrible. I mean, I can't imagine what they go through.
With all of those things that you have to do, all the hard parts, what you see, what you smell, what you have to share, with families, all of that. Why would you tell people, if someone was interested, why would you say, yes, this is a job you need to do? We want more homicide investigators. Why? What is appealing about homicide, I guess, is what
Needs
I'm
to
trying
be
to say.
done. I mean, it's like, man, I've enjoyed every job I've had since the day I started. I mean, you're doing something. I mean, you're going after bad guys. But, I mean, it's not easy, but you're doing it for families and real victims, and get to put a bad guy in. As I say, we don't put it in jail.
Lives
Homicide,
have
we
been
put
changed when y'all show up to something, and people are looking for justice. And like you said earlier, those fact-finding missions, is a large part of what y'all do, poking holes in stories and finding out the truth and doing those things to bring people to justice who have taken another life, no matter what the reason. And you mentioned earlier, sometimes it's justified. Sometimes you find out it was self-defense or stand your ground case. Y'all work all those.
We average about 2 of those a year.
Yeah, so as many people as y'all put in jail and make charges, get convictions on, there's some people, had y'all not done such a great job to find out the facts, to keep those people out of jail who were simply defending their household or defending their family member or themselves. And that doesn't get a lot of attention. Just so many different tools y'all use. Technology certainly changed the way you do things, but there's nothing that'll ever replace that human factor of watching y'all interview people and talking to people and putting the pieces of that puzzle together to find that finished product, which is truth, is what you're looking for. It's life-changing.
Yeah,
we're thankful we got people who want to do that job.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll be going down a rabbit hole. You think you're on the right track, and all of a sudden, all right, this is what really happened. And you're finding...
You have to have a lot of patience, don't you?
I don't have patience.
I know you don't, but the rest of the...
Everybody else does.
Everybody else but
That's
Garrett
not,
has
yeah,
to
not...
have patience.
I'm patient.
I got a question. Could you get away with murder?
Oh, could you get away with murder?
Boom, boom, boom.
No, that's a polygraph question. Can't lie about that.
But it's not admissible.
Whoa.
No, not today. Probably looking at some of these cold cases, it's just technology. I mean,
Canebrake got the rose petal murder, got a lot of attention.
National.
All the technology that was used in the first 48 hours looking for a suspect and things that were happening, I was really amazed to watch y'all go to various places and look for camera footage and ring footage and, all that stuff. But that had to be a tough one to piece together.
Oh, yeah. It's phones. You're looking at everything. Like, I can see why there were cold cases in the 70s and 80s. You didn't have the technology.
Didn't have any.
Did I get away with it? I probably couldn't, but we have cold cases.
Right.
We're working on some but they're solvable. We're close.
What were you gonna say about cold case? You brought your little folder there. This is his moment.
I know it.
Take the mic.
This is the only way we got him to agree to come on here.
I'm
He's
working.
got things to
Give
say.
him 2 minutes to.
So I can't do them all. I've got several. But
Oh my goodness.
One of our most recent is Alicia Laws.
Okay.
She was killed December 27, 2020. One of our only. That's the only one of that. In
Where was that?
2020. That was at Economy Inn. I think it's a storage facility now down at Augusta and 85, 3905 Augusta. Shot in the parking lot at his nighttime hours. A lot of people were there. We're close. If somebody's got information, Crime Stoppers is anonymous. It really is. It's a one-way, because I want information.
And they
from Crime
pay
Stoppers.
you for information.
They do.
They will.
It's truly, because it's kind of, if you give Crime Stoppers, please give us as much as you can. And it's protected. Title 23, Section 50, Crime Stoppers in South Carolina Code of Laws, it's protected information.
So if you call Crime Stoppers, can you have that person go to court and testify?
No.
There you go.
They issue
we
you a
have to-
number.
to pick your money up at a bank
to get
and
your
you have a
money.
password,
We don't even.
something like that.
Yeah, we don't even know
But
the
it is
name of the person.
completely anonymous.
Right. So
all the way through.
If somebody's got information and can give us information about Alicia, it will be totally anonymous. I will get prosecuted. Solicitor's office, it's listed in the state law. That's protected information. We have to backdoor our way in there. So if you said it was a red sedan and a guy named Big Jim was driving it, that's the crumbs that we need.
Right.
And
Kind of like Mekhi Hawkins' case at the rec center.
Yes.
Large gathering.
group.
Shot was fired. She was hit in the head. Still, no one has been
People were
charged.
reluctant to come forward in that
But
case. And if we
Somebody
can
was there that knows something.
gives us information that we can work with that just put us in the right direction. Show us, so-and-so got the gun, or if this is the guy that picked him up, something like that. Something we can work with. Sometimes they just say so-and-so did it. Well, that gives us a name.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it's a nickname.
And when
put
these
'em there.
people, like when you have like the Hawkins case, you had a large group of people know, okay? When these things happen, a lot of times, maybe not every time, but most of the time, people know something. So I would want to kind of implore to them that think of it as if it was your family member, right? Would you want, if something happened to somebody you love, would you want somebody that was there holding that information in because they don't want to get involved or they don't want to, they just don't want to deal with it?
Sometimes they don't think it's important. They got information and they think, well, y'all probably already have this.
That's a big thing.
Yeah, give us whatever you have for you guys to take it and run with, or put it with another piece of that puzzle, which may be the missing piece to tie somebody to it. But again, we talked to a lot of folks that think, well, they come forward and say, well, an investigator winds up going out there. Well, I saw that, but I thought y'all already knew. I didn't think it was that big a deal. And it's absolutely a big deal. So call and let us know if you got information about any of these cases.
Anything.
More the better. I mean, sometimes it's just overwhelming witnesses and information, they're going to take a plea. They're not going to go to trial with this. And that's the information you need, whether you got, I'll say the probable causes on the low end, which that's not a good product that we produce. We try to get as high as we can.
That's another thing I want to ask you. When you guys work these cases and you put all the time in and all the effort and it goes to trial and you see plea deals or you see somebody get off, almost with what they've done, how does that make you feel as an investigator?
If the family's all right with it, so a lot of times they just want closure, get us behind them, and we'll take it because we don't want to go to parole board every 3 or 4 years after a certain amount of time, and I'll tell solicitors, all right, you all right with this? Families, the family's ones that's really got to live with this, and if they're all right with it, and if they're not, what can we do to make it better? Do we need to go re-interview this witness? Do we need to do something? But sometimes you don't roll the dice on a trial, because you don't know what juries they're going through, and they have sympathy or what they have in their mind. So you take
things.
He said he did it.
Changed when you talk about a jury pool. You just never know what they're wanting to see or what they're looking at or what changes their mind when you present evidence to them, and this is just as clear as it can be. And then juries go back and they deliberate and they come out with a question, and you scratch your head sometimes. Why would they even ask that? Like as clear as it,
But they don't get a lot of information either, though, because sometimes you just can't bring his past in or, other stuff. And like I'll look at a witness and say, are they going to be here in 3 or 4 years and still want to testify? So let's get as many as we can in case those cards, we have to fold on those and play some other cards. So
that's got to be frustrating, though. I mean, just to see the different things that can happen through the entire legal system. We do our job. We make arrests. We do interviews. We figure out. You guys investigate. You figure out what's happened, and then sometimes you don't see a resolution like you might like to see, like you might want to have for the family. That's got to be kind of tough.
Sometimes the case is strong, and it's just things fall apart. Like people get cold feet. They don't come forward, or they change their stories because they've been intimidated, and they was strong. But that's why you want to have forensic evidence to back it up.
What's John Garrett's legacy case when you leave the sheriff's office? What's going to be kind of the case that you're most proud of? You did bring your folder, so I don't know.
I ain't saying nothing to do with that.
Oh, this is all locked in, huh?
Back in March 2007, the year of our Lord, I was working narcotics, Bison Narcotics, and if anybody asks me, this is the most rewarding case I ever worked, is we're working a heroin case, and the FBI was wanting to get a heroin angle on something. They were working here in Greenville, and it was during the Afghan War, so there was a nexus there somewhere. And there was only one good pocket you could buy heroin then in Greenville, Sterling, Judson, over in that area. Now you can get it anywhere. But he come down, and we were going to try to do something with a heroin case. But he looked up on my board, and I had some business cards up there. He said, where'd you get those cards? I said, well, we think it's a prostitution organization or ring. Like 3 cards, had a phone number on the back, coming back to burner phones, throw down phones. But it had a map on it with a little cat, Dorsey Boulevard, and one had Waddell Road, and had a little house with a cat on it. I said, I think it's prostitution. He said, man, that's a big case. He said, you want to work it with me? I said, well, how big is it? So he opens up his folder. He has my cards, but he has about 10 or 15 other cards. In Greenville, Spartanburg, Atlanta, Charlotte, Myrtle Beach, Charleston,
Ooh.
and Columbia. He said, this is an organization. Nobody wants to work it. I said, well, that'd be a good change. I've been riding a moped all summer buying heroin. This is what I signed up for. The story he told me would be a movie. So he said, we got a girl coming next week with an agent. She's in a safe house in McLean, Virginia, or Quantico, something like that. I'll call the agent Troy, because I don't know where he's at now. I think he's still with FBI. I don't know where he's working. So me and Troy, he said, she's coming next week, and he tells me this story. Like, she's 16. 2 years ago when she was 14, she was smuggled across the U.S. border near Nogales, Arizona. We're going to Tucson, going to get smuggled out to California, L.A. somewhere with her family. I think it was the story. I got some of the documents. Her story is just, I mean, she could be a book, and if I ever write it, I'm going to give her the proceeds if I can find her. And they were going to L.A. and work with family out in Mexican restaurants. They get across the border, if you know anything about the border. It takes them 3 or 4 days. They get up to Tucson. Well, they call the women out from the guys, which isn't unusual because you're in the back of a truck. They put buckets back there with stuff them relieve themselves and water bottles, and they're smuggling. They're getting their money. Her and her aunt, I think it was somebody, another relative, they end up in Dallas, Texas. They didn't know where they were because she'd never been here. And she's working as a prostitute in a house in Dallas. Don't know where her aunt went. They put them in separate minivans thinking they were going to the same place, and she never showed up. She's in the minivan with 3 or 4 other girls. A week into that, she ends up in Atlanta, and they don't have a phone. She didn't have a phone anyway. She's a minor. Take all her belongings, and she's working in a brothel. And you think of a brothel, it ain't like on television or which is a single-wide mobile home and somewhere, and they're nasty. And she would stay there a couple weeks and then move them around. They kept the girls moving. And I'm thinking, this is what I signed up for, yes. So her story of she went to Greenville a couple weeks, would go to Charlotte, made the rounds. She'd been doing this 2 years. She's 16 now. They'd make him send money home, take them over to places on the west side and wire money to their hometown, and they couldn't communicate with them. Make sure they let to know the family that's in there they're okay, they got money. So she is in Charlotte, North Carolina. The way he told me this story is the chain of events that went. The Johns weren't supposed to have phones. They'd pat them down. And if you had a phone, you had to leave your phone outside. She is having sex with a guy, and phone starts vibrating in his pocket. She's like, you have a phone? And he's like, yeah, don't tell anybody. She said, give me that phone. She jerked the phone up, calls her family, I think it's in Michoacan or Oaxaca, Mexico, gets her brother, said, hey, this is, I can't think of her name, we'll say Lilia. And he's like, they just say, where have you been? We hadn't heard from you 2 years. She said, shut up and listen. I'm in a lime green house near I-77 in Charlotte, North Carolina. There's big airplanes flying over. I've been kidnapped. I'm in hell as a prostitute. Hangs up. So get that phone call, you know. So this is what set off a chain of events. They go to local police. They didn't know what to do. They called the state police. You had SC Alleys, the state police down there. They moved it to the federal alleys. Eventually, by the end of the day, they notify FBI Mexico City. They notify FBI Charlotte. Charlotte, 8 hours, found that house and rescued.
Wow.
Really?
6 or 8 girls out of it.
Yeah.
And this started a chain of events. He said, she'll be down here next week. She's going to point out locations. Sure enough, she pointed out my location. I said, you sure? I've been sitting on that thing for weeks. She's got a padlock on the outside. It's got bars on the window. Trust me. I said, oh, okay. Then she takes it to other places. She said, that's a dorm. That's where the girls stay. And we went to Taylor's, went to Dixie Circle, went to White Horse Road. These are brothels. So
This is in Greenville County.
Yeah, there's an underworld, but I'm thinking. So I sit on that day every day. I'm sitting down there with bust them open, potato chips and food, a pea bottle. I'm sitting there with binoculars, my shades over the window, and about 5:30, about 6 or 8 days later, car pulls in. Guy gets out, unlocks the padlock, goes in, comes out. 2 girls. He's got one holding her by the wrist. Takes her over to the front seat. Now, that's unusual. But mini skirts, high heels, get on ready. Hey, I got activity on Dorsey Boulevard. We get a crew over there and we start following. Sure enough, there's girls in there. So, and then we start doing trash pulls. So pulling and just condoms, water bottles. You know what these are brothels. These are, and these girls, you know, they're kidnapped. It's a real deal.
Yeah.
So, long story short, I mean, we were doing surveillance, and like the one on White Horse, they're protected. So we pulled in there, me and my partner, Brad, go into a circle, come back out. Guy comes out, opens his jacket so we can see the gun in his waistband. Like, that's it. Yeah. And there were girls, you know, you could see them. The door was open. Little single wide trailer. They pull back out. I'm wondering how much money this guy make a day. He's going to earn it, you know. So we ended up taking them off. We hit all the locations at one time. And we hit our location. Our responsibility was Greenville. But they hit them in all the other cities at the same time. Rescued a lot of girls. Made the front page of Greenville News, I think, 10 times that in 07. And I got an article. This is kind of the most rewarding case. But when we hit that door, they were scared. They ran, started hiding in closets. And we're law enforcement, trying to tell them in Spanish who we are. And they started, you know, you can tell two of them, older women, might have been working the circuit.
Right.
And there's some that were scared. They want to kiss your hands. They don't do that. We're good.
Right.
They want to put their hands behind their back. No, come on. Get them in minivans. Leave your stuff. We had FBI and I think HSI had victim advocate females, Spanish speakers. We get them in there. We want material witnesses. And we get them in a van. And that night, they put them in a motel. And the one logistic they didn't figure out who's going to protect them. So we're on Haywood Road at a nice prominent hotel. They said, hey, we need to go to Walmart. So me and my partner are driving this van with these ladies.
With all the women.
And these girls are back. And it's shopping season. We taking them all over to Carrie. Get this, get your pajamas, get your items. And it's like a slumber party. They've never had that before. And they said, come in and watch us watch. No, we can't watch the Where our room's over here.
Yeah.
And, of course, we had female victim advocates on each side. And that's the most rewarding case. I think it is. I'd like to find that girl and figure out where she is today. But
that's unbelievable.
Changed
like
her
that's
life.
oh yeah, that's a good story.
No doubt.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's
So,
why you get in this business, right?
She I mean, you could tell like they're for real. I know what the Mexican police is like working on the border. I mean, they could trust us, and finally like okay, in her stories they had asked her, why don't you just run away? She said, where I just got to America. Where am I going to run? She, who's going to protect me? I mean, I don't. Where's the police station? I don't know. They'll go from house to house to house, and they take me back to the dorm at night. So right here in Greenville, that's probably the most rewarding case. There's probably a couple of others that.
This is why you need to write that book.
I write a book.
You're going to write a book one day. I can feel it. He's
I
going
want
to
somebody
write a
else to
book.
write it, though. I mean, her story, that's a good story.
You tell the story and let them write it.
Yeah.
You know, then
I'll
they
do
got
that.
those things now. You just speak
I'll
into
give her
it.
that
So
money and
you
say,
could
look,
just-
you got something out of this here.
You
Send
can
it home.
sit at home by the pond and just talk into this, whatever this device is, and it'll write it
is.
for you.
Constant sorrow.
So, yeah. That's right. We could sing one.
hey,
Yeah.
I heard the sheriff will pay if you come up there and talk into a can.
That's what
Wow.
we're doing.
You could tell stories for days, though. And we'd probably sit here and listen to them
Statute of
because they're
limitations on
good.
some of this stuff.
Well, yeah, but the people that work with you, you have the reputation for that. They'll always say, you want to hear a good story.
One
Get
of
Garrett
the
going.
most respected employees, deputies at the Greenville County Sheriff's Office, John Garrett.
Easy.
No
I
doubt.
won't have
See his face is
What do you
turning
say?
red. His dimples are turning red.
Easy. I'm going to have to live up to something. You're going to find out. I shouldn't have said that. It's not, I've messed up a lot of stuff. Everybody
No,
says,
listen,
you know how to do
he's-
this? No, I'll tell you how not to do it. I wouldn't do it this way. This is why. It's called
Hey,
experience.
you still learn, though.
Yeah,
They
I got the
learn.
letter. Don't do it that way.
That's right.
So
No, you've done some really good things here. In all
Absolutely.
seriousness, Garrett, you've been here a long time. You've done a lot of things for people. You've done a lot of things for the people here. A lot of people look up to you, and I know you're gonna shake your head and roll your eyes and do that face right there. But they do love you. I've talked to many of them, so you know they may not
Can you
tell
send me
you
a
just to
list?
keep you humble, but
can you send me a list?
well, I can't give out all my information.
Christmas card list.
Yeah.
You can send them all a gift.
But homicide is something that, not everybody can do, but the ones that we have that do it, we're very fortunate, are extremely good at what they do. You get the answers, you solve these cases, and you do it again and again and again, no matter how tough or
They
how
are.
hard.
Some of them, they just need a crumb. The crumbs. We've gotten there. There's nothing, nada, and they'll get a vehicle description, and they start looking for video, and then they figure out what kind of vehicle it is, and then, he's at this intersection, he's got a tag, and then, how many black Volkswagen Jettas are they in Greenville County? And we start going down that list, and within, 12 hours, we use that suspect. They're just relentless. I like it. It's the hunt.
So how long are you going to do this? I'll put you on the spot here.
No. I think I have a couple more years left in me.
Couple more.
Before
5
you,
grandkids. I'm Papa John.
yeah, before you
John.
ride that horse into the law
Yeah.
enforcement center. Yeah,
Papa John Cup.
can't beat that.
They're like I said,
Isn't that's
grandkids
the
don't-
best life ever?
They're like
being a
puppies. They're always
yeah.
glad to see you. If they had tails, they get out of the car.
Yeah,
Papa
that's
John.
right.
They're, I mean, like, it's good for me.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, well, they ain't good for me. They somebody back there in homicide got word. Hey, Papa John. Hey, easy.
That's right.
Well, that's for
Not that old.
I know.
Oh my goodness. Well,
One
that's
day
all I
there'll
got,
be an
Sheriff.
investigator sitting here, and you're going to ask those same questions.
Yep.
And instead of a Joe Wood, they're going to say, "Who trained you? Who do you look up to? Who's your mentor?" And they're going to say, "Papa John."
Yep.
That's coming. I guarantee you. If you polled homicide back there, he is
that worries me.
the hinge pin of investigators.
No, there's something for me. Antonio Bailey trained me, so
Yeah, well,
There
I
he
mean, I
is.
get it,
But that keeps getting passed along, and you're doing that for the people
That's
back
right.
there
we need
too.
Antonio Bailey in here. Then. No,
Antonio Bailey does have some great stories, great investigator for sure. And, when he tells stories, he's always smiling, which is kind of spooky. Like, have you noticed that?
I got a wart in my back pocket.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. He comes in smiling real big. Hey, Sheriff. I'm like, uh-oh.
That's the good thing about the people that work here is all the stories, all the experience,
The history,
Yes.
for sure, of a long legacy of very dedicated, very hardworking, very honest people who make this community safe. And we're very fortunate to have really the crew we have. And there's always new people coming in, but for them, they don't know it now, but for them to be trained by some of the most experienced folks who have just really seen it all.
Yep.
They don't realize what a
It's a
gift that
gift.
is until they're about 12 or 15 years into their career. So,
But
we're
they
very
will.
fortunate.
They will. At
They
some
will.
point.
They-
They will.
that's right.
Because we know
Your
when
legacy
people
lives
come
on,
through.
Papa John.
That's right.
Good thing. I got
Did
two more
you-
cases I want to throw out there.
I was gonna say you wanted
Yeah.
to give
I
a little
do.
shout out to cold cases. So
I
we
do,
were-
but here's one I'm working. Timothy, he went missing. Timothy English, March 2016, left old Easley Bridge Road on the west side, was going to Walmart to get dog food, and never came back. Now, his roommate reported stolen. Said he had a habit and was probably going through Mustang Village. We know that.
Oh, yeah.
Family's aware of that. But here's some other information I just recently got, sort of leery, but I'll put it out there, is his 50-pound bag of dog food never showed up at Walmart. He probably was pulling a wagon similar to this. So a red wagon with brown or some kind of, if that is over in Mustang Village
When was
somewhere.
this?
2016.
2016.
Vanished off. So we got a Crime Stopper that foul play may be involved. And it was very vague, and I can't reach out to him. I should get, can you send a reverse? Yeah, just Crime Stopper. I can't communicate, but I want to appeal. If you sent some information in the last year or so about this case, I'd love to talk to you. If you give me your phone number, I can't divulge it. That's Crime Stopper. Don't give me your name. Even if you get a burner phone, call me. If anybody around Yosemite, Appaloosa happened to come across a wagon like this, I'd like to hear about it.
yeah.
That crumb's all we need.
Yep.
I need
You
a crumb.
could be holding
Start that trail.
small piece of information.
Another case I'm working. If you don't mind, I got your ear here.
He's got
Strike
he's got
while-
us held hostage.
Strike while the
Yeah,
iron's
yeah.
hot. Yeah.
This is
Next Friday.
Yeah. This is Robert Hernandez. His skeletal remains were found in 2023. It's the only unsolved case for 2023 over on White Horse Road at Old White Horse Road. Unusual place to dump a body. It's very popular. Even if it was middle of the night, it's a lot of traffic. It's below Furman. He's from Omaha, Nebraska. We can establish that this was in November. In October 8th, he arrived in Anderson on a bus. Bus line took 2 or 3 days to get here. He was coming out here to visit some relatives. Relatives, they never showed up. On the highway at one of the gas stations where the buses come in, we don't know if he got robbed. So how did he end up from Anderson? We can put him in Anderson on October 8th, 2023, and then we find him 6 weeks later of advanced decomposition, skeletal remains. But it took a long time because of the condition to figure out he had a bullet hole in. And it's been ruled a homicide. So we don't know if he was robbed, dumped from Anderson, which is unusual, which is why there. If you have any information or saw him in that area, we'd love to call Crime Stoppers.
Call Crime Stoppers.
Or call me direct if you don't mind giving your name.
Little crumbs.
Call us.
That's all we need.
I need a crumb.
That's
Little
right.
crumbs.
Call
Just
us.
give
Call
us a
us.
start. Think of it as if it was your loved ones.
I agree.
I'll keep saying that.
I have
Well,
an
Sheriff,
audience I'm taking advantage of.
We're probably just gonna have to take the mic away from him, move his folder, because he'll
That's-
keep going.
he's-
But that's how. That's why he's good.
That's what great investigators
Yep.
do.
He doesn't stop.
They keep talking, keep talking, keep talking. So
You're a legend, Papa John.
absolutely, Papa
at all,
John.
man.
Pleasure to have
See,
you on
now-
here
now.
today. You do a great job. We appreciate you.
That slipped.
Yes, sir. The legend lives on. Investigator
We love
John
you.
Garrett. Dun,
Well,
dun,
next
dun.
week we got another good podcast coming up. I won't give any of the details out to spoil it, but it's a very important one for a group of people that we have here that we're very proud of, and we want to love on them some. So we'll be back next
Absolutely.
week with another one. Sheriff, thank you, John Garrett, Papa John, for being here. You're like, I hate that I ever told y'all that name
I'm
now.
gonna put a rooster in your car or something.
Oh, God.
I know you.
You left Carrie speechless.
Look.
We call her the rooster, and now she's afraid of chickens. You do have a phobia.
Oh,
against
it's a real
chickens.
thing.
Yeah.
It's a real thing. Yeah. And I'm waiting because I know these people here in this.
Yeah.
I know. I always check my car before I get in because one day someone's going to put a chicken in it.
There was something
I'll
in
be
your
on the
office
news.
this morning when you walked in. I came in
Oh.
and you had some coffee on your uniform shirt,
Yeah. It was almost.
and you were
yeah.
pasty white coming out of your office and
Yeah.
using some language against one of your coworkers.
Yeah. We
that-
have to put a little
yeah.
censor beep on that.
Maybe
yeah.
that would be a good video to put on here somehow, and people would stop the memes about me and pork rinds and Diet Cokes.
Oh,
and
no.
Maybe put a meme of you and a chicken
No. Oh,
or a rooster.
Sheriff.
Here they come.
It tastes like chicken.
Send them in. Yeah.
I'm done with this podcast now.
see you next
We'll
week.
see you next
That's right.
week.
Thank y'all
Yeah.
for joining us. It's a pleasure.
Which is on Spotify, YouTube, and of course Facebook. And we'll see you next week.